All right, Harry. So you have a message for us in Ezekiel today. Why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Okay, Ezekiel, he was born into a priestly family in Israel. At age 25, he was deported to Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar on his second trip there. At age 30, he was called by God into ministry. This was about 600 years before Jesus. Ezra is a priest and a prophet to the Jewish captives in Babylon after they arrived there. At exactly the same time as a contemporary, Daniel is representing God to Nebuchadnezzar in the royal palace in Babylon. Also, at this same time, Jeremiah is still warning the people in Israel that Nebuchadnezzar is coming back and will destroy Jerusalem and the temple. God has all the bases covered. I find knowing this really special. That's my God. He's got it under control.
Amen.
So to the point, God has an interesting message for Ezra in chapter 33. Verses 1 to 6, God gives Ezra a parable as follows. As we know, the enemy can attack anybody at any time. Typically, they come at night when everyone is asleep. So people hire a night watchman. When he sees the sword coming, he blows the trumpet. This awakens the people to defend the city. But let's say he sounds the trumpet and no one cares. The enemy comes and kills. Who's at fault? And the answer is the people that are careless. They've been warned, and too bad. Also, let's say he sees the enemy coming and chooses not to sound the alarm, and people die. Who's at fault?
Oh yeah,
This
he's
time,
obviously at fault, right?
yeah, it's the watchman. Okay, but there's a special trick coming here. So
Mhm.
chapter 33, 7 to 9, do you want to read this? This is the parable explanation.
All right, verse 7, it says, Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the people of Israel. So hear the word I speak and give them warning from me. When I say to the wicked, you wicked person, you will surely die, and you do not speak out to discourage them from their ways, that wicked person will die for their sin, and I will hold you accountable for their blood. That's a stern warning, isn't it?
Yeah, so God says, Ezra, you are the watchman. I have appointed you. I believe it was around 25 years ago that I first read and understood this message in Ezekiel. I did not like this message then and still feel very convicted when I read it today.
Mhm.
How many people do I know today that are on a bad path? And the answer is most. How many people have I not yet warned? And the answer again is most. I still don't like this chapter. I feel so convicted. I read it anyway. Oh Lord, give me the courage and wisdom to speak truth in love to those who are perishing. I believe that the Lord has appointed all of us to tell people what the Lord has done in our lives, and that they should consider that also and also be blessed as we are.
For sure. And I agree with that, Harry. But I just have a question for you. How do we gain this courage, right? Because that's intimidating to be pulling out all this stuff from people. And I know we were even discussing this morning about opportunities when you saw something in your younger days where you would have felt now more comfortable to say something to them, but at that moment you failed. So where do we get this courage to be able to do this? And of course, doing it in love as well, right? Where you don't want to be the person always a nagging person, shall we call it?
Yeah. And 25 years ago, if I had told them, it wouldn't have been very useful because I
Mhm.
didn't have what I needed. I didn't have a cookie on the plate to offer them because what I would have told them would have just been negative material. You got to find God, but I really didn't know him myself appropriately. What he had done in my life up till then was not very much because I hadn't let him. So I think first thing we have to do, of course, is to have cookies, to have something, and then we have then But as we become blessed, we have to find simple little ways of nudging them forward, just as we are being nudged forward. And it isn't as if you're going to give them a sermon, but just a little thing is reminding them that Jesus does give us an off ramp, and that we have privileges, that we don't, that the word, all the stuff around us, all the chaos, that's not a concern to us, because God's on the throne, and we're in his care, and things are good, things like that, the world is really a wild place, and just the comfort and seeing the comfort that we have, and that we have that God has a plan for us, and that we are part of that plan, and we can be, and he wants us to be.
Amen. Thanks a lot for that, Harry.
Thank you.